All right. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Elizabeth Collins, and I'm the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer at the Michigan Department of Corrections. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm very excited to welcome all of you to today's session with some of the members of our Military Advisory Committee as we kick off Veterans Week. Also want to thank Chris Gouts, our Public Information Officer Director, for his behind-the-scenes technical assistance today. So before we begin, let's take a moment and meet our panelists. Emily.
Hey everyone, Emily Rissman. I am our new Veteran Liaison Specialist. I am currently still serving in the Army Reserves. I joined back in 2011 through Central Michigan's ROTC program. So I have been an MP officer since then. Have had the opportunity to go over to Bagram to do detention operations there, as well as down to Guantanamo Bay.
Great. Thank you, Emily. Shawn, are you able to introduce yourself?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, my name is Shawn Tylutki. I'm the Assistant Deputy Warden at WHV. I joined the Army in 1991. I did 3 years of active duty, and after that, I transitioned to 2 years of National Guard.
Thank you, Shawn. Dennis?
Hello, my name is Dennis Schur. I'm currently the Corrections Program Coordinator for the Veterans Unit at Saginaw Correctional Facility. I started I was in the Marine Corps in 1989 to 1994, and I was in the Gulf War.
Okay, and last but certainly not least, Justin.
My name is Justin Russ. I'm a probation officer in Ingham County. I spent 6 years in the Army Reserves as my reserve base was up in Traverse City and Bay City.
All right, thank you, Justin. So, okay, now that we have met all of our panelists and it looks as if cameras are working, so thank you very much. Let's jump into our conversation today. So panelists, can we start with each of you thinking about the term veteran? And do you associate the word veteran with a title or an identity? So let's go with Justin first.
I associate it with an identity. It's because the military has its own culture, its own lingo. We have shared experiences. Each one of the branches, we have like things we like to make fun of each other about. We have, anytime another veteran meets another veteran, you automatically have conversations just to share your experiences, share certain lingo together. So to me, it's an identity.
Thank you, Justin, for sharing your perspective. We'd love to hear from you, Shawn. And go ahead and unmute. Okay, while Shawn's unmuting, let's hop over to Emily. And then if Shawn can get unmuted, she can share her perspective with us.
Yeah, so I've always kind of struggled with this, mainly because I am still serving. So most of the time when individuals are, Emily, are you a veteran? It's more like, well, I'm actually still serving in the Army Reserve. So I see it both ways. But with my job previous to this, working with the Michigan Veteran Affairs Agency, I've kind of forced myself to use it both as a title and identity to say, yes, I am a veteran, because many of the resources available and benefits available to you at the state level and federal level based on the veteran definition, even though I am still serving, the fact that I went over to Afghanistan for a period of time into Guantanamo Bay, I meet a lot of the requirements based on my military service. So, but for me personally, it's very much how I identify myself. It's something that is who I am. It has created a lot of the way I see things and going about doing things. So for me personally, it's very much a part of how I identify myself.
Thank you, Emily. Okay, let's go back to Shawn.
I'm unmuted.
Yes.
Yes. I believe that it is my identity. The military have molded me basically to who I am now. I still carry some of the respect and honor in my everyday that I learned when I was in the military. I also try to bring that to my job as well. It's taught me how to treat people fair, with respect and dignity. And it's just a part of my DNA. I believe that is who I am.
Thank you, Shawn. Okay, Dennis?
I also agree with everybody, pretty much, identity. It basically molds me who I am. People can see it in my demeanor and how I talk. On a few occasions, you could use title, depending, like, if they're looking to confirm you were in, you might hold that as a title, but for the most part, it's identity.
Thank you, Dennis. So since all of you pretty much do identify the term as part of your identity, and Dennis did touch on a little bit, but could anyone speak to why someone may see it as a title?
You know, I could see more like people outside of, you know, the military community seeing it as a title, you know, like, you know, I think all of us can, when we're out of Veterans Day, or someone finds out, they come up and they thank us for our service, and it's like, oh, thank you for honoring that. They see that as like, this is a title for this person, where, you know, for us, you know, who are veterans and stuff, and we're not like, sometimes I've heard other veterans say, thank you for your service, but we see it as like, this is who this person is, rather than just a title that they have that given to them, you know, or that they earned. So I see it's more of like people outside the community of the military see it as a title.
Thank you for that. And thank you all so much for your candor on the topic, and, you know, sharing about your perspective and, you know, how it's part of your personal identity. We very much appreciate that. Can some of you share the ways that you see the idea of your veteran identity in your everyday life?
Yeah, well, so it's weird enough, but one of the things I noticed, like every day out and about doing things, when somebody says, hey, can you call me, or can you send me something, whether it's work related or with my kids in their sports or something for city council, it's like, yes, I will get it to you Monday by no later than noon. And I promise, like, you will get that email or that phone call or whatever it is Monday by noon, because suspense dates and is ingrained in how I've done everything. And operationally, like, if you get a date and a time that a mission needs to be accomplished, I promise you that that will happen. And I noticed that's something that when other people say they're going to give something to me by a certain date or a time, and that doesn't happen, it's, you know, just one of those things where it's a little bit of frustration, but I understand that not everybody has that experience with the importance of meeting deadlines to the extent that those in the military, like, it's ingrained in the importance of hitting your SP times or hitting those deadlines are vital, because it has a lot of second and third order effects that you don't want to be the person that is responsible for something else to go wrong.
Thank you. I want to give the other panelists an opportunity. If you want to share some of the ways that you see the idea of your veteran identity shown in your everyday life, feel free to hop in. But if not, we do have other questions.
For me, it's respect, how I treat other people. Is, you know, when I got in for the military, I kind of had like a chip on my shoulder. You know, I was always right. I was a big talker, and I always wanted to argue. And military quickly chipped that away from me. It's helped me. It's just how I treat everybody going out. I call people sir, ma'am, even some of my clients I work with. I show them how they should treat people by treating them with respect. And that's how I see it in my everyday life, because I still continue the lessons that the military taught me about showing people respect.
Thank you.
And one of my big carries away from the military is dependability. The military taught me to be dependable. We do what we say and mean what we say. And if we tell you we will get something done, we will. And we also like to take on extra tasks. It's not, you know, hard for us to jump in and learn something new. We kind of welcome that. So I think the military has taught us to be dependable and like go-getters. We don't mind a little bit of extra work. You know, to us, it's just all of the day's work, as long as we work as a team and help everybody else around us.
Well, thank you for that. And I can say that I've had the privilege of working with each of you in capacities, and I can definitely back up that I see exactly what you're saying about everyday life. I've witnessed it from all of you and the work groups I've been with you in. So each of you has provided so much insight, and I know myself and the attendees, we're very thankful. But could you also share some ways that people can show their appreciation to veterans, not just during this week, but all year long?
I think respect is a big thing. Just respect prior military members, and kind of like, I think just goes a long way. Just, please and thank you. And if you recognize them, just say thank you for your service. That goes a long way. I think respect is probably just the biggest thing.
Thank you. Does anyone have anything else to share?
I would say if someone wants to get involved with the veteran community, best thing they can do is find their local American Legion or VFW and check out the events page. They have tons of events that are open to the public. If you are a son or grandson or a relative to a veteran, you can actually join some of those organizations as the Sons of the American Legion or the American Legion Auxiliary. You want to get involved, that's the best way to do it. And you can participate in multiple veterans events throughout the year, raise money, and it's the best way to also get to know your community and the veterans that are in your community.
It's just the simplest thing as volunteering. You might can go to a nursing home that has a huge population of veterans and just volunteer there. That actually shows them the respect as well. So a simple thing as volunteering is also a way to help support veterans.
Thank you.
Yeah, and showing appreciation beyond Veterans Week is one of our objectives of the Military Advisory Committee, which these wonderful people are all a part of, is to bring that awareness and to tell the stories beyond this time frame. There are a lot of really interesting and historical important dates that are associated with the military or veterans. For example, this Thursday is the Marine Corps birthday, Dennis, so happy early birthday for you. I don't know if you're one of those Marines that are like very, very excited about it, but my former supervisor, Jennifer Lamb, her Facebook page has been blowing up with Marine Corps birthday content for almost 2 weeks now. So, but there are events out there in holidays that are very meaningful to a lot of service members. So I think one of the things that people can do is know a little bit more about the veterans in your life, when they served, what branch, their job, ask questions and listen to their stories. I think if you know somebody who was ever enlisted, ask about like their best time in basic training. Like there's some really not so great moments that happen, but we all probably have some funny story or a really cool memory that is on the forefront that we always reach back to when we're in those moments. So that would be my recommendation, is learning a little bit more about that specific veteran, because we're not all created equal. We all have our own unique military experiences, maybe by branch or by era or our duty locations. So we're as unique as everyone else.
Yeah, thank you, Emily. And you did just briefly mention the Military Advisory Committee. So as we close out today's session, how can other military and veteran employees get involved with the Military Advisory Committee or other efforts within the department?
So with the Military Advisory Committee itself, it's still really brand new. It was born out of one of the EPIC recommendations that a team of folks did several years ago. So currently what we have is a 12-person team of military, those currently serving and or veterans from anywhere within the department. They have applied to be a part of this committee. It's a very, I guess, blind way to select. We created an order of merit list based on how they answered their applications, and really we're very selective on their input. So Shawn and Justin and Dennis are members of that 12-person committee. And then there are other individuals like myself and Derek Alvarez, where we are standing committee members based on our positions in the department. So these individuals are serving 18-month terms. So if in the event that there is a vacancy, maybe somebody leaves the department or switches jobs, no longer have the commitment, we will then open that up for people to apply and get put in to fill for the rest of the term. But right now, we do have 12 very dedicated individuals who will be serving through December of 2023. Now, I know there are other ways to get involved. We have 10 veterans who are on the peer support for the different wellness teams across the state that are there to support the veterans at their facilities or outside of the facilities. I know some other facilities such as Shawn's. Maybe you can speak a little bit about what you all are doing with your local committee.
Yep, here at WHV, we just recently created our military committee here. Of course, we kicked off Veterans Week today with our first Raise of the Flag ceremony. We want to go ahead and continue on trying to do things for our veterans as we're here. We want to volunteer. We want to work with the wellness program to help bring some peer support or buddy system here. And we was talking with Lenny a little bit about that today. So in our next meeting, we're going to see what our next objective will be, since we're kind of brand new, about just like the MAC committee. And we're kind of working off of the MAC committee, but we're kind of trying to do it locally here. But today it was a great outcome today, and I was impressed to see so many veterans and staff come out to support us.
Thank you, Shawn. Does anybody have any final comments they would like to make as we get ready to wrap up?
Yeah, the one last thing that I would like to share. So the MAC has put together a very short survey that's going to be sent out at the end of the week. We do have objectives based on our subcommittees, which are appreciation, wellness, recruitment, and benefits. But we really want to get the input from the veterans and those currently serving as well, to hear what your interests are. We've created and we've at least a minimum of 2 objectives per subcommittee, and our charter was officially approved and signed off from Director Washington. So we now have a framework on how we're going to move forward. But we still want to hear from our coworkers about what is most important to them, into the future, and the content and the resources they want to hear. I know Justin and Dennis have some really great ideas on how we can improve employee benefits, as well as benefits for our incarcerated veterans too. So I don't know, Justin and Dennis, you want to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that you have been talking about in your subcommittee?
Go ahead, Justin.
We want to support our veterans who are currently serving. So one of the things we want to do is to see what we can do to improve those benefits. So we've been looking into that. Also, the veterans who are currently serving, we're looking into possibly allowing them to wear some type of insignia identifying them as veterans. Dennis can kind of touch more into that, since he works at the facility in Saginaw that holds our veterans.
We're just trying to help streamline the process, working with the MDOC. So they have a lot of resources they can tap into, but a big problem is now our veterans unit is full. So we're trying to figure out what the best way to go if we're going to slowly expand, because all the resources are here. So it just makes it ideal that everything is here, so they can, if we can get more veterans here, we can have more programs for them to take part in.
Oh, thank you all so much. Thank you to all of our panelists, and thank you all so much for joining us today. We all hope that you found this a great way to kick off Veterans Week here at the Department of Corrections. And please take time this week to honor all the veterans in your life. And for all that have served, we definitely want to thank you for your service.
Yeah, thanks, Elizabeth, for being our moderator today. We definitely appreciate your voice and your conversation that you bring to the MAC as our solo civilian on the team. But we truly want to say thank you to everybody taking some time out to participate. This is going to be recorded. So it's going to be able to be shared out on the department's YouTube page, as well as we just recently got our SharePoint, military and veteran SharePoint page up and running. So we'll get this link there as well. So you can view it later on if you weren't able to join us live.
Yes, thank you. And I do want to share, because I just heard this quote about 30 minutes ago, talking about veteran groups and employee resource groups. And it said that there's never been a battle fought that didn't require an ally. So for people like me who are not veterans, we're your allies in all the important work that you are doing. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.